Welcome back for the final date of the 3 Girls a Day program. For this date, I wanted to get back to basics and really show you what you can do with effective messaging. I also want to re-emphasize and re-highlight several of the principles in the program. So this is kind of an unusual date in this fact that a lot of the work that you normally do on the date was done prior to the date, which led to a very advantageous sort of dating situation. But let's start it off right away with the messaging. This was on Tinder, and this is a great example of messaging because it was almost all done on Tinder in via text. There was very little done on the phone in this particular interaction. So the first message that I sent was, "You're adorable, fingers crossed you're not crazy, winky face." Pretty standard message for me. This has become kind of a go-to throughout the program. It's actually one that I tried out during the shooting of this program. It worked very well, so I kept it in the rotation. Again, always remember to keep trying new things, keep trying to implement and improve. For a couple different reasons. One being that different approaches can get played out or different styles can get overused, and so it may go bad, but also because you can always be improving, so it's good to always be experimenting. So anyway, that was my message. Her response is, "LOL, crazy in a fun way." And then she double texts, "I'm British, we all are." And then, "Where you from?" Now, these aren't necessarily full multi-tests because they all come with the same timestamp. So it's not like she was super reactive and like every 5 minutes I didn't reply, she replied back. It's nothing super crazy like that. But that said, the fact that she's sending 3 texts back to back to back is a pretty good sign that she's interested. Also, she's asking about me directly. So from here, there's no reason not to just go straight ahead and go towards a close. So my first reply text after her reply to my opener was, "I'm American and you actually seem pretty okay. Are you adventurous?" Again, "Are you adventurous?" is a lead-in to my closing sequence. It could be any of a number of things. That's just one that I've found really, really works. So she responds, "Very winky face." Okay, very positive. Looks good so far. There's no reason to think anything negative here, so let's just continue forward towards closing. So I wrote, "Sounds good to me," smiley face. "So tell me, what is your view on drinks and witty banter with cute boys?" Okay, pretty standard in the closing sequence. Her response is, "Love it." And then double text, again, with no difference in timestamp, so it's not like a reactive double text, but it still is invested. Second text, "I'm heading out tonight to WeHo. What you up to?" So that's really good as well. She's potentially asking me out on a date right now, but at the very least, she's curious, wants to know. So I'm going to interpret this in the best possible way and go ahead and move towards potentially making plans. So my response is, "Going to Bungalow in Santa Monica, might be in Hollywood tomorrow night, so I'm not available that particular night. In the meantime, my number is, phone number, what's yours?" So this is a pretty typical closing type of text sequence. A couple things here. It is a bit of a soft close in a way, in the sense that I'm saying I'm not around that particular night. So it's almost like I'm saying I can't do the plans you suggested. Like even if she didn't mean it, me misinterpreting it, it only works to my benefit, and I'm not trying to do too much with it. So it's a pretty safe misinterpretation. It's a pretty safe escalation. So that's pretty good. And also shows that I have a life and that I'm not going to bend over backwards and change my plans for her. And this is a recurring theme in this particular text sequence because at the time I was doing some work out in LA, and I was pretty busy. I had a lot of other obligations. And so I actually sort of like canceled plans or manipulated plans a few times with this girl over the course of it. And interestingly enough, that doesn't ruin the interaction if you do it in the right way. It actually can make it more solid, make her chase you more, and at least it conveys that you have a life. So I like all those things about this text. So her response was, "I was in Santa Monica earlier, just left Culver City." And then she says, "My number is, phone number." And then she says, "I never been to Bungalow yet, winky face." So again, it seems really invested, seems really good. There's no reason to think this isn't very, very positive, and continue from there. So let's go to the phone. So the first text that I send is a pretty standard one, again, designed to get my number in her phone. Again, to reiterate, it's so important that I send something so she knows who I am, so that she knows to respond to me in the appropriate way instead of a "who's this" or that kind of stuff, especially if I'm going to try and call and get her on the phone. So that's what I sent. It was, "Hey," her name, "it's Todd from Tinder. Look forward to talking to you soon. Please save this number so you can be appropriately excited for my call, winky face." So she sends, "Hey sexy, I will do XX," which is obviously very, very positive. The following day she sends, "How was the bungalows?" So again, this is really good. So she's wondering what's going on. texting me, following up, that sort of thing. So here, no reason not to just go ahead and make plans. So I say, was good, what are your plans tonight/tomorrow? In this particular case, I actually, a lot of times I would actually call to make plans or call to try and solidify things, etc. At this particular time, the reason that I opted to text instead of calling was that I was actually with other girls. So it wasn't exactly opportune for me to be picking up the phone and talking. It made it a little more useful via text. Also, she's so positive, I thought I could just go directly to setting plans via text anyway. And then if there was resistance, I could go ahead and call and fix it. So that's why I went the route that I did here. So her answer, so far just chilling, you. Obviously, again, ideal, exactly what you want to hear. So I say bungalow, which is I had plans. I was out on boot camp. I was teaching clients. That's where we went, etc. So she says twice in a row, must try someday. Okay, so she's just being conversational, just talking here. Not exactly helping me to make plans at this point. So that's unfortunate because she seemed really on. When the girl's on, when the girl really likes, you want to strike while the iron is hot and get her out on a date. You don't want to wait around. So this is kind of unfortunate, but what can I do? I'm working. I'm not going to change my plans for her. C'est la vie. So I said, yeah, not my idea this time, but I do like the place. In this case, what I'm trying to do here is just create a casual sort of conversational vibe, like I'm not trying for anything, like we're just friends or we already have a relationship where I can talk to her and be normal and be chill without always having to try and make plans on every text. I think I have plenty of social capital to make plans, but trying again to make plans here would be really like kind of silly and just a risk that's not worth taking. On the other hand, just leaving it silent here I think is not great because it makes it sound like I don't want to talk to you unless I'm making plans. So I just wanted to throw something casual in there that will leave the window open for me to hit it up again tomorrow if she doesn't respond. If she does respond, even better, because now I can sort of leave her hanging and I have all those sort of like momentum in the text conversation. So I think this is sort of a no-lose text. It adds to the comfort level that she'll have with you. It doesn't decrease your value, and if she responds back, that's even better because now you kind of have her on the hook. So that's what I sent. She actually didn't respond back to that. However, like I said, I didn't lose a lot from it, so I'm able to just keep continuing to make plans. And I think in a way, even though it's a double text in a sense, because it was a comfort building, not asking for anything text, I think I actually build my social capital through the last text. And if I was at a place where I could have made plans on the previous text, then I'm still at a place where I can make plans on this text. So I went ahead and did that. So what I sent was, plans today, ? I'm going out of town tomorrow, right? There's some urgency here. It's not ideal to actually do this, to be urgent, to be going directly like hardcore for plans frequently. But in this case, I'm leaving town. I have no choice. So we're just going to go for it and see what happens. So her response is, where are you going? I'm free later. Again, really, really positive. So, she wasn't able to make plans with me the one night I tried so far, but everything else has been positive. So I wouldn't consider her highly flaky, especially since the plans I asked her to do were like about a half-hour drive for her, so it wasn't really super easy, and it also was not a like specific let's go on a date kind of plan. It was like I'm out here, where are you, that kind of thing. So there's no reason to think she's flaky. Just keep moving things forward. Everything's been positive so far, so let's continue to move things towards a potential close. So I say, want to meet me at the Grove in a couple hours? She says, sure. Again, very, very positive, everything you would want. Now here again, life got in the way, and this will happen as you become an abundant man. Either A, you're going to have other girls on the go, or B, you're going to have other things going on in your life that you value, and a date with a particular girl isn't that big of an event for you, so sometimes you'll end up actually flaking on the girl. So in this case, that's what happened. It turns out I was trying to shoot a video at the Grove and then go to a little date with her, and then I had to move out of the Grove for the video. I had to go shoot somewhere else, so we had to switch it up. So here's what I sent. Shit, change of plans. Was filming at the Grove. Bat, which should be but, have to go to 3rd Street Promenade instead now, right? So I'm changing it up. If she wants to go to 3rd Street, that's great. I doubt she's actually going to go, but at least I'm giving her a viable reason why I changed the plans. So hopefully it won't completely burn things out. It'll leave it open for future. She says, Kay, what are you filming? Work or fun? So here she's just being conversational. The plans are kind of off at this point, but it's a good opportunity, again, similar to last time when the plans were off, to talk a little bit, build some comfort, so that the next time when I want to build plans, I'm not just the guy who always wants to get her out. I'm willing to have a real relationship with her. I'm willing to talk. I'm willing to be conversational. It just makes things a lot easier. So in this case, I just talk back. The other thing that I do here is, again, I'm going to throw in a little bit of extra sort of like subtle value, which never hurts. So I say documentary for work. Now, to me, I think that sounds a little bit value-y because most people aren't shooting documentaries for their work. That means I do something interesting. It means I do something cool. It gives her like sort of a conversational loop she can ask me about, that kind of stuff. And also because I'm sort of the person being filmed for the documentary, I'm kind of the star of it, the documentary, by which I mean video similar to this one. But fair enough that it puts me in a good light. So it's a good thing to be conveying as well. You want to be a little bit careful about how you're conveying your life to the girl. You want to make it sound cool and interesting and like something she'd be intrigued to be a part of and something she'd have fun being a part of. So anytime you get a chance to convey that, go ahead and do it, as long as you can do it without sounding like you're bragging. If it sounds like you're bragging, it actually works against you though. So she says, cool, what part of town do you live? So again, now she is again trying to make plans. So that's really, really positive, really, really good. Here I just say Hollywood. I know she lives in Hollywood. I know that's the answer she's looking for. I don't want to try and do too much because I'm not trying to make immediate plans. So if I can get her to chase me and make the plans for me, that's great. If not, again, answering an exact question can never ruin your social capital. So I'm leaving it open to make plans for later. So her response is, cool, same. Why don't you text me after filming? I'll be around this evening. So this is really good. Now, it's funny, huh? How when you flake on a girl, a lot of times it gets her even more on. It makes her think, oh shit. She starts to realize what she lost. She starts to think how much she was looking forward to meeting you. Even if she was hesitant before, when it's taken away, she's like, oh shit, I lost that. And then she'll chase it. Also, I'm being abundant. I'm showing high value. So in the text themselves, I'm conveying a lot of status. So now we have her pretty down to make plans, pretty much chasing me. It looks really good. So here an interesting thing happens. I was traveling to LA. I actually went back to Vegas. And so I just didn't even bother texting her because what was the point? However, turns out I was going back to LA the following weekend. So I decided to pick it up. So I pick it up 3 days later. I've just been total silence for 3 days. But she likes me a lot. She was chasing. I have good social capital. So things look good. So I just pick it up. And I go actually directly for plans. Again, I can do this because the social capital is very high. And in particular, I can do this, or I'm willing to do this, because I'm on a limited time window. So I don't want to mess around a lot. If I had a longer time window, I might actually have played it a little slower. But I went straight for plans in this case. And so I said, what does your weekend look like? She says, I'll be around. Did you go out of town? So again, she's making herself very, very available for me. This is excellent. Again, all green lights, looking really good. She semi-flaked on me once, but not really. And then I flaked on her. She's still down. This is pretty ideal. I like the situation. So we're just going to move it forward. Say, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, right? Again, I could try and make plans here, but she's chasing for plans already. So what I'm really trying to do is get her even more hooked. Instead of overtly making the plans, which I could always do, I could always send her another text message the next day, which is just as good because plans made the same day are more solid anyway. So instead of trying to make plans, I leave it open for her to make plans and see where that goes. So she says, where did you go? Now she's pursuing me, pursuing conversation, trying to talk more. And now it's like she's reaching and reaching. And the more I can keep her reaching, the more I can keep her investing, the more she's going to want to see me. So this is all really, really good. So then I just give like the 2-word answer, Las Vegas, right? I could give a lot of long-winded stuff. I could try and make myself sound cool. But the fact of the matter is she's already chasing, so I don't have to. And again, I'm not even trying to make plans today. I'm confident I have enough social capital already to make plans tomorrow, so I don't have to work hard. If anything, I can just let her chase me. So she says, for work or fun. Again, notice how she's constantly driving the conversation, trying to keep things going. All of the conversational power is gradually shifting to me. So I say, bit of both. Shall we get together this weekend, right? I'm just going to solidify the plans. She likes me enough. Let's just get her in person and seal the deal. Here, it's interesting, though. She didn't respond, right? Now, this is odd, right? A lot of times, you might think of silence as very, very negative, right? Silence is, oh, shit, you overspent. You wasted your social capital. So in this case, and I did go for plans, so it's very plausible that that could be the case. But if you look at the overall scope and nature of the interaction, there's no real reason to feel that. The only way that she should have like gone silent here would be not because I like messed up in texting, but maybe she like hooked up with some new guy or something. That's about the only reason legitimately she should go silent here. So I act entitled, tell her I deserve an answer, hey, ... The delay on this, by the way, is something like about a day and a half. So she doesn't respond for a day and a half. I put ... And she just says then, yes, ! This is a good lesson. This means her silence wasn't because she was ignoring me, wasn't because I fucked up, wasn't because I didn't have social capital, wasn't because I'm a loser. It was just because she either looked at her text at a busy time or she missed that text or something like that. So notice how important it is to just be a little bit persistent and not just give up. Cannot emphasize that enough. So I called her phone and it had some kind of weird message. So I wasn't sure if she got a missed call or not. So just to make sure she knew, I sent Just called, but your phone is weird. What days work for you? So then she actually called me back, and I missed her call, or I think I was busy doing something else. I just didn't bother taking it. So then I texted her back again. Hey, saw you called, tried to call back, but your phone is still weird. So then at this point, we have one really, really brief phone conversation, which basically consists of her calling me, her asking like where I'm at. It turns out I had just like woken up. She says, hey, you want to come over and see me? I'm like, well, it'll be like an hour. Let me shower and get ready. And she's like, okay, come quick, basically. And I'm like, okay, cool. Text me your address and I'll come. So then the next one is her texting her address. I say, okay, I'll head over in a few minutes. She says, what time shall I expect you? Because I'm kind of taking longer than I had promised at this point. And I say 25 minutes approximately, just in case traffic is bad. It was like a 10-minute drive or something like that, but I still had to get ready. She says, K. She says, text me when you park and I'll tell you the apartment number. I say, okay, on my way over now. I was actually in a taxi on the way. And then I say, I'm here. And from here, we'll now take it to the date, or the very short, what passes for the date in this case, because it turns out very, very favorable. We'll pick it up with me outside her apartment, on the phone, getting the final information to be able to go meet her up. Hey there. How you doing? Good, good. What apartment are you? I believe so. If I'm in the right place, I am. There's 3, there's 9, or 6. 6 straight back? Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Hello.
Hey, you. How you doing?
So I was just in the shower myself.
Your place smells amazing.
Oh. Sit down. Would you like a coffee? Or would you like a proper drink?
Proper drink, maybe with some water as well. Come here, you.
Hello.
Looking very cute.
Sit down, young man.
Don't call me young man. Makes it sound like you're my mother.
Oh.
All right, so that's pretty interesting, and I guess a pretty, fortunate. It's the kind of date that you would like to have, right? Walk straight into the girl's place and go from there. Key things to remember on a dating situation like this, and I've had many times where this has actually happened, is you need to be patient and take your time from here. If you are too assumptive, if you're a little bit too presumptuous, or if you try and move things too rapidly, you can ruin what is otherwise a very good situation. These kind of spots, I find that it's important to just convey your personality, be chill, assume that she already likes you, assume that it's probably going to go down, but don't be pushy about it. Let her take her time, let her sort of like go through whatever her process is for sleeping with you. If she's assertive enough and on enough to have invited you over, there's a pretty good chance that she's also going to be willing to make some moves. She's also going to be very open, etc. once you're there. So, I mean, don't be super quiet and awkward, but at the same time, don't be crazy pushy. Don't expect to walk in the door and have sex with her in 5 minutes, all right? Take your time, get to know her. Understand that you still have some of the elements of a normal date, of some of the elements of she just met you from online, she's never seen you before. She wants to make sure you're not a total creep. So remember principles like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Remember to tease a little bit. Don't be too blatant and too forward, etc., etc. But again, this is a testament to good texting game that just from a decently written, well, in this case, profile, a Tinder, so no profile, but an online in general, decent profile, a decent texting, you can get to, inside her apartment before even really meeting her. So good to see that in practice. What I want to do now, since this was the last of the dates for 3 Girls a Day, is I want to just kind of briefly reiterate the general points to dating so you have them all in one spot if you ever need to review, and you just have it available for you. You've seen now 15 dates. You've seen me execute. You've seen me take home most of the girls. Some of the other ones I put in just for education value or because certain dates will go that way. But you've seen a lot of good dates, and here are the key elements I want you to remember. 1, do the date in a place where sex can actually happen. This is entirely critical. Most of these dates, I took the girl home. Had I been in some weird situation where I was halfway to somewhere, she was halfway to somewhere, we had 2 cars involved, that would have been very, very difficult. Most of the dates were near where I lived. A few of the dates were near where she lived, or of course in this case, right where she lived, right in her apartment. But you need to have good logistics for your dates if you want to get laid on the first date. If you don't mind doing second and third dates, you can do that. My perspective on that is that it's better not to deal with going back and redoing the whole phone game thing all over again and the text game thing all over again and starting from scratch. Also, a lot of times girls who are down, especially girls in online game, they are actively looking for a guy and they may have many dates that week. And even if she had a really good date with you, if she has another date the next day, you didn't sleep with her, you're playing it slow, and then she sleeps with him, it's going to be very hard for her to justify coming out on a date with you later. So I think it's very important to strike while the iron is hot and make the date go well while you can. So I really, really suggest that. Secondly, you need to be escalating on the date. Most of the dates, I started off by at least hugging the girl. Some of them I started out actually even almost kissing the girl. But there is some physicality. There's definitely a man-to-woman vibe from the start. It's assumed that that is the nature of the interaction. However, it's also, again, not pushy. I'm taking my time. I'm willing to calibrate. I will try a light escalation. If that works, I'll go with it. If the light escalation doesn't work, back off, recycle, try again. You've seen many dates where at the start of the date she's saying like, oh, you're very handsy or you're very touchy or something like that, and then later on in the date I have her back in my place, we're making out, etc. So know that no, contrary to what they tell you in middle school, no does not mean no, it means not yet. Now that's not an excuse to like go assault girls or anything like that, but it does mean that girls sometimes need time to warm up, and just because she's not fully physically receptive doesn't mean she won't be at some point later, right? So you never be forceful, never be pushy, never like make the girl do anything she doesn't want to do, but at the same time understand it's okay, back off, change her mood, not her mind, and then try again later. And understand that if the girl really truly doesn't like you, she will leave. So the very fact that you've tried to escalate and she's still there with you should indicate that she at least still likes you that much, okay? So you want to be constantly moving things forward. Nextly, I suppose, you want to be progressing the date. You want to be moving around, getting that habit, that premise that it's not a stationary thing, it's not a static event. If she gets used to moving around with you within like the place you initially meet, it'll be easier to move her to the next place or to move her home. If you've been sitting for hours and then you get up, it's going to be awkward and she's like, okay, well, date's over, let's go, etc. So getting that motion in the date early on is very useful. Also setting up the pull. Setting up the venue change home, coming up with some reason why she might want to go there with you, or setting up the idea that you're going to go do something for a little bit maybe, but you're not sure yet, and making it feel like a win for her as opposed to a loss for her, all right? So instead of doing this whole thing where you're like, make her like me, make her like me, make her like me, and then at the very end, oh, let's go somewhere, you're setting it up from the very beginning. You're setting the tone that there are adventures possible between you. And then, if she plays her cards right, it's possible. Also notice the frame that I'm in, which is what I call the buyer-seller dynamic, which is I'm not trying to win the girl over. I'm not constantly like, do you like me? Am I good enough for you? What can I do for you, princess? It's not that frame. It's a frame of, who are you? Let's find out if we like each other. If you play your cards right, maybe we'll do something together. So it's this frame of I'm an abundant man, I have a lot going for me, and you're welcome to be invited into my world. And my world is a fun, interesting, cool place filled with cool guy me. So why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? That is the buyer dynamic, and it's very, very important throughout, okay? So that concludes the 3 Girls a Day program. Review at your leisure. There's tons and tons of material, especially in the date section. It bears watching multiple times. And of course, you can always look back to this summary at the end for dates, and you can always look back to the main course. You have the information available to you. Now, the important thing is that you take action. I don't want this to be a course where you look at it, digest it, say, I learned some interesting stuff. I want you to get out there, make a profile, get numbers, follow up on them, get dates, take action. If you take action, you will get there. Remember, the most important part of the entire system is, in a sense, the split testing. It's doing the trial and error, getting the feedback, and constantly improving. It doesn't matter how bad you are to start. If you're constantly improving, you'll be great. It doesn't matter how good you are to start within reason. If you aren't improving, you're not going to get the results you really want. Okay, so that's the most important thing, is take action, learn, improve, and take more action. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.